All right, welcome to another day of 5 Minute Friday. Today we're talking about recommitting to phonemic awareness from this lovely book of Shifting the Balance. And we're going to jump right into these misunderstandings because, again, there are five of them and 5 minutes goes fast. So, our first one is phonemic awareness develops naturally. That is a misunderstanding. Instead, our brains need to learn to use the system and listen to each small sound. We talked last time about oral language and listening comprehension, how that develops naturally. But the written language was actually invented, it was a man made creation. And the reason this is important to know is because what they did was they matched all the different sounds to random symbols, right? And so we need to train our brains to be able to listen to each of those sounds to be able to match it with those symbols. And one of the difficult things about this is the idea of co-articulation. So our syllables, our sounds, they tend to blend together, and so it's hard to know when one stops and when the next begins. And so that's something that we have to train our students through phonemic awareness, through different activities, to be able to isolate and delete and do all these different things and notice those different sounds. For misunderstanding number 2, phonemic awareness and phonics are the same thing. This was probably me a few years ago of when you're talking about young kids learning to read, you throw out a f word and hope you hit the nail on the head, right? Phonological awareness, phonemic awareness, phonics, whatever, thinking it's kind of the same thing, but really they are different. They help each other out and they do overlap, but they are different and they each deserve intentional instruction. So you can kind of see here some of the different ways to differentiate them. The big way when I think about it is the phonological awareness is kind of our big umbrella thing. If you ever Google phonological awareness umbrella, you're going to come up with all these different activities and different things that you can do that come under phonological awareness, and it's all about the sounds, manipulating and noticing different sounds. Phonemic awareness comes under that umbrella. It's one of the things that we can do, and it's learning to articulate, notice, and manipulate those individual speech sounds. So that's what we're really talking about when we're talking about phonemic awareness, is the different sounds at the sound level. When you think about phonics, the big difference, and with phonemic awareness, they say that can be done in the dark. There's no writing to it. There's no matching letters to anything. It's all just spoken. When you get to phonics, the big difference is you're pulling in that written system. The graphemes, our alphabet, right? So you're pulling those in and you're matching the sounds to those letters and learning about that relationship together. So that is one of the big differences between those three ridiculous words, which can be confusing. Let's see. Our next misunderstanding, number 3. Once children know all their letters and sounds, they'll be able to read. That'd be awesome, but it's just not true. They all need to have their aha moment about that alphabetical principle. And the alphabetical principle is basically how this all works. And these are the 3 big things in it. That every spoken word can be broken apart into phonemes. Every written word is made up from specific symbols from our alphabet. And every sound in a spoken word is represented by a letter or combination of letters in a written word, and vice versa. So until they understand these 3 things and they really understand it, they're going to have their aha moment. It's going to be different for all kids, and that's when they're going to be able to read. Misunderstanding number 4. Phonemic awareness is mostly a readiness or pre-reading skill. And really about this one, it's actually something that plays a role throughout their life, and it's still even developing in upper elementary. And the idea that the lack of strong phonemic awareness is a contributing factor to a majority of reading difficulties. Most kids, if they have phonemic awareness, they don't struggle to read. Whereas most children, it said in here about most children with dyslexia, for example, struggle with have low phonemic awareness. And so it's not just a readiness skill. The last one to talk about is this misunderstanding that intentional phonemic awareness instruction takes a lot of time or fancy resources. And really all you need is a few minutes a day and an understanding of the most important tasks and what makes them easy or hard. So here's a chart. Please feel free to pause it and kind of look through these different things. It has a list of The work that you might do going from easy of blending sounds to substitution is the most difficult. Um, and the other thing to think about when thinking of tasks is the word that you're going to choose to do. So what part of the word you choose that you ask them to isolate or to do or delete also makes it easier or harder. So if you look at the first letter, that's the easiest. The end letter, second easiest, a little harder. The medial vowel, a little bit harder. And then finally, if you have any the consonants in the middle that go with blends or things like that, those are the most difficult. Um, so this is something that you can do with for a few minutes a day, going through any of these different activities. All right, thank you so much. Next week, we're going to talk about some other recommendations for making the shift. Have a good